Let's be real. Hollywood doesn't always play fair, especially when you're queer. One wrong headline, one misinterpreted quote, one red carpet kiss, and boom, the media explodes. But today's stars? They didn't crumble under the pressure. They clapped back, leveled up, and proved that scandal doesn't have to break you. It can make you. In this episode, we're diving into the stories of 5 openly gay stars who turned public backlash, controversy, or gossip into fuel for their rise. From whispered rumors to viral outrage, these men transformed awkward moments into iconic comebacks, and in the process became even hotter in the public eye. So before we start, where are you watching from? Drop your city or country below. We've got drama to unpack, pride to celebrate, and a few shirtless glow-ups along the way. Ready to see how the fiercest gay stars flip the script? Let's get into it. Kit Connor, from scandal to strength, a queer icon in the making. It was supposed to be a moment of celebration. Heartstopper, Netflix's sweet queer coming-of-age drama, had just launched instantly charming audiences around the world. Kit Connor, the breakout star playing the bisexual rugby player Nick Nelson, quickly became the internet's new golden boy. With his magnetic screen presence, subtle vulnerability, and just the right dose of softness, Kit wasn't just acting. He was redefining masculinity for a whole generation. But as the spotlight intensified, so did the scrutiny. Fans adored him, but they also projected their hopes and identities onto him. Within weeks, speculation about Kit's real-life sexuality began flooding Twitter, TikTok, and Stan forums. Was he really straight? Was he queer-baiting? Why wasn't he saying anything? The pressure became unbearable. Then, in a single tweet in October 2022, Kit wrote, "Back for a minute, I'm bi. Congrats for forcing an 18-year-old to out himself." I think some of you missed the point of the show. Bi. It was raw, it was angry, and it was absolutely heartbreaking. Kit's forced coming out made headlines around the world, not because he was queer, but because of how he was cornered into saying it. What should have been a personal, empowering milestone became a cautionary tale about parasocial fandoms and entitlement. But here's the twist. Kit didn't fade away. Instead, he grew bolder. In the months that followed, Kit Connor didn't retreat. He stepped into his power. He kept showing up for press, for fans, for the queer community. He became an advocate even when he hadn't asked to be one. And through it all, he did what he does best, act with stunning grace and emotional depth. His performances grew stronger, more confident. His interviews, while still guarded, carried a maturity beyond his years. He wasn't just the soft boy from Heartstopper anymore. He was someone who had survived a public storm and emerged more grounded than ever. What makes Kit's story so compelling isn't just the scandal, it's how he reclaimed it. He didn't let that moment define him. He transformed it. His silence became a roar. His vulnerability became his armor. And let's not ignore the obvious. He's still heartbreakingly handsome. That messy hair, the deep voice, the way he fidgets in interviews. It's no wonder fans are still obsessed. But now there's a deeper respect in the obsession. A recognition that this pretty face carries a real story, real pressure, and real resilience. In 2025, Kit Connor isn't just a rising actor. He's a symbol of how queer youth are navigating fame, fandom, and identity under the world's microscope. And he's doing it with grit, empathy, and undeniable charm. Drop a 1 if you think Kit turned scandal into a power move. Troye Sivan, turning tabloid talk into queer pop royalty. Before Troye Sivan became the blonde, shirtless muse of every Tumblr daydream and high-fashion editorial, he was just a shy kid from Perth uploading songs and vlogs to YouTube. But even back then, there was something different. An openness, a softness, a quiet boldness that made people stop scrolling and listen. Troye came out publicly in 2013, before his music career even fully launched. It wasn't a press stunt. There was no label campaign or rainbow-filtered rollout. Just a video, just his voice. And yet it resonated around the world. For many fans, it was the first time they saw someone like them. Actually like them. Unapologetically queer and effortlessly cool. But here's the thing. Being an out gay pop star wasn't easy back then. And for someone as pretty and delicate as Troye, the criticism came fast. Too feminine, too soft, too gay. He wasn't man enough for some mainstream radio formats. Critics questioned if he could compete. Could he be sexy? Could he sell? Spoiler alert, he absolutely could. When Blue Neighborhood dropped in 2015, Troye shut every doubter up. The heartbreak in Fools, the longing in Youth, the iconic slow-burn kiss in the Wild video. It was cinematic, romantic, queer as hell, and it charted. But Troye wasn't done pushing buttons. In 2018, Bloom arrived with a new version of him. More confident, more suggestive, more shirtless. The title track was filled with cheeky euphemisms. My was a euphoric dance floor confession. He wasn't just making pop music for queer people, he was making pop music as a queer person, visibly, audibly, sensually. Still, he faced backlash from conservatives, from the press, even from some in the queer community who debated whether he was queer enough or too performative. But Troye kept creating, kept evolving. He ventured into acting, fashion, fragrance. He kissed Ross Lynch in 3 months, posed nearly naked for Calvin Klein, and partnered with brands that once would have never touched an openly gay man for fear of alienating consumers. Through it all, he didn't shout. He seduced. What makes Troye's journey so powerful is that he didn't weaponize scandal. He aestheticized it. He turned whispers into album covers. He turned judgment into choreography. He made being young, gay, and tender look like the blueprint. And in 2025, Troye Sivan stands as not just a survivor of gay pop's growing pains, but a pioneer who helped define it. His influence is everywhere, in the crop tops, the eyeliner, the unapologetically queer lyrics sung on main stages. If Kit Connor represents the queer next-gen breakthrough, Troye is the runway that made it possible. He's not just surviving the noise, he's soundtracking it. Drop a 2 if Troye's glow-up still lives rent-free in your mind. Colton Haynes. When the closet cracked wide open. Before Colton Haynes ever spoke a word about his sexuality, the internet was already buzzing. Tumblr posts, leaked modeling photos, BuzzFeed threads asking, "Is Jackson from Teen Wolf gay in real life?" He had the looks, the charm, the jawline. But something about the silence was louder than words. Back in the early 2000s and 10s, Colton was the guy. Brooding on MTV, flashing abs and Arrowverse cameos, the heartthrob you weren't supposed to question. But that didn't stop the rumors. People dug up his old modeling shots for XY Magazine, a queer publication. They speculated. They posted receipts. Still, Colton remained quiet. Until one casual comment changed everything. A fan on Tumblr innocently said, "When I found out Colton Haynes had a secret gay past, I got so excited." Colton responded with a simple, "Was it a secret?" That one reply cracked open the door. And in true internet fashion, it exploded. Headlines, think pieces, tweets on fire. Suddenly, Colton wasn't just the hot guy from TV. He was the hot guy under scrutiny. The backlash wasn't entirely cruel, it was mixed with confusion. Why hadn't he come out sooner? Why the dance around the truth? And when he did officially come out in 2016, it wasn't with a glamorous magazine spread or a big Hollywood moment. It was during a rehab stay for anxiety tied to years of hiding and performing. His honesty was raw. He didn't come out for clout, he came out because the pressure nearly broke him. But here's where the story flips. Instead of retreating from the industry, Colton rebuilt. He got personal, wrote candidly about addiction, grief, and identity. His memoir, Miss Memory Lane, wasn't just a tell-all, it was a tell-true. Suddenly, fans didn't just lust after him, they related to him. He returned to screens with more depth, more grit. No longer just a walking thirst trap, Colton brought vulnerability into his roles and public persona. He modeled, sure, but now for queer-owned brands. He posted thirst traps, but with captions about healing. He wasn't trying to fit back into the Hollywood box, he was redesigning the whole damn shape. Colton's transformation wasn't a rebrand, it was a rebirth. In an industry that loves a comeback, his wasn't loud, it was authentic. He didn't spin his struggles into scandal, he faced them head on. And in doing so, he became more than a former teen idol. He became a queer icon for those who've ever felt like their truth might cost them everything. Today, Colton Haynes stands tall as someone who was almost chewed up by the machine, but came out shinier, softer, and more real than ever. Drop a 3 if Colton's journey hits you harder than a Teen Wolf rewatch. Olly Alexander, glitter, grit, and a gorgeous mystery. If you've ever stumbled onto one of Olly Alexander's performances, glitter smeared, hips swaying, vocals piercing the heavens, you probably didn't just watch. You felt something. Maybe it was awe, maybe it was envy, or maybe, just maybe, it was the magnetic pull of someone who owns every inch of who they are, or at least seems to. Olly didn't just rise to fame. He sparkled into it. As the lead singer of Years and Years, he carved out a space that never apologized for being too much, too queer, too sparkly, too emotional. But that too much was exactly what made people fall in love. His music didn't just bop, it bled. It spoke to queer joy, queer pain, queer lust, and everything in between. And while many artists play coy, Olly stepped onto stages and red carpets like he was daring the world to say something. His sheer tops, legendary. His on-stage kisses with male dancers, unapologetic. But for all the flamboyance, there's a tenderness underneath, a realness that hits harder than any high note. Then came It's a Sin. Olly's acting turn in the 2021 hit series was nothing short of transformative. Playing Richie, a gay man living through the AIDS crisis, Olly didn't just act. He relived pain that echoed across generations. The performance was raw, angry, joyful, and devastating. Suddenly, Olly wasn't just the glittery pop star. He was the voice of a forgotten era, handing the mic to history. But here's where it gets more interesting. Olly is out, proud, and never shy about using the word gay. He's a walking pride parade. And yet, there's something mysterious about him. He's rarely linked to anyone publicly. He jokes about crushes in interviews, flirts in music videos, but never confirms or denies much. The boy who sings about heartbreak doesn't often name names. He's visible but somehow untouchable. Fans love that duality, the freedom, the tension. He is the fantasy and the reality. The boy you could maybe kiss at a club, but only if you caught him between verses and costume changes. What makes Olly so unforgettable isn't just that he's talented or sexy or brave, it's that he's unboxable. You can't define him by genre, fashion, or even identity. He shifts, he plays, he teases. And in an industry obsessed with clarity and labels, Olly makes ambiguity irresistible. He's a walking contradiction, vulnerable yet commanding. Glam, yet grounded. He cries in interviews and makes you dance through it. He sings about longing and then winks at the camera. He's art. He's chaos. He's everything. In a world that demands answers, Olly Alexander remains gorgeously unsolved. Drop a 4 if Olly's glittery mystery owns a piece of your heart. Dan Levy, the eyebrow-raising icon who owned his narrative. Before he was the sharp-tongued, fashion-forward David Rose on Schitt's Creek, Dan Levy was a quiet storm waiting to happen. At first glance, he might seem like the Nepo baby of comedy legend Eugene Levy, but anyone who's followed Dan's rise knows he's carved a completely different legacy, one stitched together with eyeliner, oversized sweaters, and a razor-sharp wit that slices deeper than any tabloid rumor ever could. Dan didn't grow up desperate for the spotlight. In fact, early interviews revealed how much he feared being outed before he was ready. He wasn't always the confident, openly gay icon you see now. That self-possession came with time, with battle scars, with learning how to make the joke before someone else did. But once he leaned into his queerness, both on and off screen, everything changed. Schitt's Creek wasn't just a sitcom, it was a quiet revolution. David Rose, with his pansexual identity, deadpan delivery, and Vogue-worthy wardrobe, became a landmark character. And Dan? He wasn't just acting, he was rewriting what queer characters could look like on mainstream TV. Loving, layered, stylish, vulnerable, real. But with that visibility came pressure. Dan became an unexpected figurehead for queer representation. People started digging. Who is he dating? Is he single? Is he really that nice in person? Is the fashion a costume or real life? He laughed most of it off, as he always does. But the deeper questions, the personal ones, he rarely answers. While he's openly gay, Dan's love life is practically a myth. He's never walked a red carpet with a partner. He doesn't share couple photos. He dodges questions in interviews with charm, then swerves the subject. Fans eat it up. Others press harder. Why so secretive? Is he hiding something? Or is he just protecting what little privacy he has left? There was one moment, though, a bit of backlash, when fans demanded more from him. During a peak moment in the LGBTQ+ rights movement, Dan stayed relatively silent on social media. People questioned his allyship within the community. But Dan, in his signature calm, responded not with tweets but with action. Donating, producing, and using his platform to elevate queer voices, even if it wasn't always loud or flashy. He proved that activism comes in many forms, and that sometimes the best way to lead is off-camera. He's relatable and unreachable, sexy and awkward, a meme and a mystery. And maybe that's the magic. So as we wrap up our countdown of stars who turned scandal into sparkle, let's give it up for the man who showed us that queer power doesn't have to shout to be heard. Drop a 5 if Dan's quiet cool is exactly your type. So what did we learn today? That in Hollywood, a little controversy isn't always a curse. For these 5 gay stars, it was the spark that lit the fire. They didn't just survive scandal, they rewrote the script. They showed us that authenticity, resilience, and a killer sense of style are more powerful than any headline. Whether they clapped back, stayed silent, or let their work do the talking, each one reminded us that being unapologetically queer isn't a liability. It's a superpower. And if that comes with a few viral moments along the way, even better. Now we want to hear from you. Which of these stars do you admire the most? Who deserves more love? And which comeback moment still gives you chills? Drop your thoughts below, and don't forget to hit that like button if any of these glow-ups inspired you. Until next time, stay proud, stay curious, and never stop being too hot for the algorithm. On fire.